Aloha, everyone. Today I have the honor and pleasure of welcoming a dear friend and inspiration and amazing writer. This is the fabulous Susan Ito. And Susan is the author of this beautiful memoir, I Would Meet You Anywhere, published by the Ohio State University Press. And it's a finalist for the National Book Critics Award. Books Critics Circle Award. So, congratulations. She co-edited the literary anthology A Ghost at Heart's Edge, Stories and Poems of Adoption. She's an McDowell Colony Fellow, has been awarded residencies in many places, performed her solo show, The Ice Cream Gene, in the U.S., and teaches at Mills College and is one of the founders of Rooted and Written, a no-fee writing workshop for writers of color, and she lives in Northern California. And she's just a beautiful soul, an amazing writer, a wonderful teacher, and I'm so grateful and happy to have you here. How are you, Susan?
Good. I'm good. I'm just remembering that I met you at Hedgebrook, and that was such a special, amazing experience
I
a
know that was
long
such
time
an
ago.
enchanting time. I love meeting and sharing our stories over the fireplace and eating good food together. I think we even visited llamas together, was it? Oh, sweet. When we were at Hedgebrook, were you working on this book or a different project?
Isn't that crazy? Yes, I was. I was.
Amazing.
hmm
Oh my goodness. Well, congratulations. It's out in the world and it's so beautiful. I took a while to read it because I wanted to cherish it. Like literally I would put it down after certain chapters and start crying where I'd have tears in my eyes. And I just had to absorb like the beauty of each part. And then I didn't want it to end. So I kept it by my bedside and would read like what I could and then just absorb the beauty of it and your story and your journey. So thank you for writing it.
Thank you so much. It just means so much to me. Thank you.
Yeah. So, tell us a little bit, if it's okay with you, about the journey of writing this book. When did you
Gosh.
start it? How was the experience for you?
It was a really long journey, I have to say, because we were at Hedgebrook probably 20 years ago, right? Something like that. More than 20 years ago. I was working on it then. It was a 30-year journey that started as my MFA thesis.
Mm,
And it went from being a collection of short stories to a novel to another novel. And then it became a solar performance show. And then I started getting out little pieces of um, standalone essays, and then eventually it became a memoir. But it was, that meme where it's like the path you think it's going to be and the path it is, and it's like a plate of spaghetti.
yeah,
It just like it goes all over the place
yeah.
until it's a long and winding road, to be sure. That's the very short answer. That it took a lot of forms, and it took living it while writing it, I think, was really,
Mhm.
really that was one of the really challenging things. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you did it. So congratulations. How does it feel now that it's out in the world? Has it?
I wasn't, it feels great. It feels great. It's a beautiful thing. It's such a relief. And, to be working on something for so long and everyone is asking you, how's your book going? How's your writing going? And it's such a painful question because it's like, oh, it's still going, but you just don't know that you're ever going to get to that destination. And so to feel like I did it finally. It's like the longest marathon ever. And the reception to the book has been shockingly beautiful. I really didn't expect that so many people would just resonate with it and respond to it in such a beautiful way. And another thing that I also didn't really expect was that, I lived this story, and it was something that I carried in my heart and in my mind all the time. I mean, it was part of me. And literally, when I finished the book, it was like I put my burden down and I didn't have to
Mm,
carry it in my body anymore.
wow.
I just feel like it's a story. It lives in these pages. It's there, and it's not inside me in the same way that it used to be. And it used to be kind of a burden. It was like an
Mhm.
emotional burden that I carried around. And so I didn't expect that. I mean, that wasn't, I think if I'd known that, I would have tried to make it happen sooner. I know that was going to happen, but um, I didn't expect that it was going to be so freeing, and it really has been.
Oh, that's good to hear. Do you feel like lighter after it's been
So
out?
much.
Oh my God, that's wonderful. Oh, right on. Sweet. And then just curious, like what brings you joy? What is it that sparks your joy?
Mm. What brings me joy is um, connecting with people, whether it be people in my family who obviously I love, but like I love connecting. I love writing and I love teaching writing.
Yeah.
So I love it brings me joy to like see that spark in students
Mm,
and to see people that I'm working with and to give them encouragement that they can tell their stories too.
mm,
And yeah, I think human connection and teaching.
yeah. Oh, you're such
Yeah.
a wonderful teacher. I remember we connected during the pandemic as well because
Yeah.
you had me as a
Mhm.
guest at your class. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
still teaching there and how's that going?
I'm still teaching, but I'm doing a lot of independent teaching as well. I teach through the Writer's Grotto,
Mm,
and I am teaching, kind of more independently as well. Right now at my university job, I'm teaching a lot of freshman composition, which is not any of our favorites.
yeah.
So they're not quite as joyful about that as when I'm teaching memoir writing or
Yeah.
uh, things like that. Yeah.
That's funny. And do you have a favorite meal that you like to eat? I know that you.
This is so funny. I looked at all your questions and I was like, I better be prepared for this. And it's so funny. It really depends on my mood. And I think this has to do with being like, half and half, being biracial is like my favorite uh my favorite basic American meal is macaroni and cheese, mac
Oh,
and cheese
yeah.
of any kind. And my favorite like Japanese meal is unagi don, or yakodon, so just like comforting stuff over rice.
Yeah,
So it sort of depends on what mood I'm in. I think I tend towards comfort food.
me too. And what about tea? Do you have a favorite tea that you like?
I also have I have my half and half teas. I love English breakfast tea with a lot of milk.
Yeah.
And I also love genmai cha, which is like popcorn tea,
Oh, okay. That's
Japanese roasted tea. Yeah.
I just want to do a little cheers with you and
Yes, I don't have my mug here, but yes, here. I have a mug full of pens.
fun. I love it. Sweet. And who are some of your biggest inspirations for writing?
Gosh, that is so hard. That's like one of the hardest questions, and I thought for you, I'm just going to pick one out of the hat of my brain,
Yeah.
which is our favorite Lee Herrick, who is an adoptee poet, and I think all of his work makes me cry. Um, but it's also cry because it's so beautiful, and
Mm,
also because he has such a big heart. And
yeah.
I feel like it's that combination of being a beautiful, beautiful poet,
Hmm.
and also having such a big heart.
Oh, that's beautiful. I
And I
love
know I know that you know him too. So,
that.
but I have many, many, many inspirations. But I thought, okay, if I'm going to pick one, that's
Yeah.
who I'll pick for today, for this moment.
Oh, I love that. His work does that for me, and your work does that for me. So it's
Mm.
nice to hear that. And how did you get started on your writing journey, your artistic journey? I know you're talented in, drawing and writing, but do you have?
I was trying to find, I don't have it in this room. I have this little story that I wrote when I was like 6 years old. I actually have a little book that I made when I was like 3 years old, which is
Here you go.
crazy
Wow.
pants. I know. So I've been like really into telling stories and doing art ever since I could even pick up a pencil or a pen.
Mm,
It's been really a passion of mine ever since I was little. I've been obsessed with reading, you
mm,
know, ever
yeah.
since I was really little, and drawing and writing. So yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
And if you had to pick a spirit animal, I'm mixing it up with fun things
I
and
don't even know what a spirit animal is, but if you ask me what is my favorite animal, it's a wombat.
fun
And
fact. I love it.
Yeah, because I just feel like I want to cuddle with one so bad, or maybe a capybara, but really a wombat. And it's my dream of my life to meet one because I know they only live in Australia, which I've never been there. And I had a stuffed wombat when I was in high school,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it just brought me so much comfort. I'm into comfort. Comfort is like a big thing for
Yeah.
me. And I find wombats very comforting, or at least the idea of them. They're just like they're round and big and
Yeah.
yeah.
I remember when I had my first daughter and you sent me that quilt, and that was the most comforting, beautiful.
Oh,
Oh my
oh,
God. So when I think
oh,
of you, I definitely think of comfort. So thank you for that. That was so beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah. And just curious about when you were writing this book, did you have to like, because it's a memoir, like get permission from everybody you wrote about, or how was that? Well, not really.
No, I mean, obviously, uh, the person that I would have had to get permission from my birth mother, who I wrote about extensively. But the big tension in the book is that I want to tell my story and she doesn't want me to tell my story. And
Yeah.
so I did talk, at great length with the legal people and my editors at the publisher. And they said if I really worked hard
Mhm.
to keep her anonymous and to fictionalize, change names, change places, change details, that they felt like that was enough.
Right on. Wow.
Yeah. So they said that I mean, and that was the thing that was so scary because if I had to ask permission and
Hmm.
she said no, I would have stopped
Wow.
and there would be no book.
Wow.
I didn't want to have to ask. Because
Yeah.
the idea, because I knew what the answer would be, and I knew if she had a bad reaction, a bad response, that I would just stop in my tracks, and that would
Yeah.
be the end of it.
Well, I'm so glad you didn't. I'm so glad that you.
Thank
It
you.
takes a tremendous amount of courage and bravery to do what you did. So I just want to just give you credit and heart for that. That's like so beautiful.
Thank you so much. I mean, I think that's one reason that it did take the 30 years is that I kept doing this like approach and back up and, I can do it. I can't do it. I can do it. I can't do it. And I remember when I was at Hedgebrook with
Hmm.
you, something happened in the middle where I just wanted to give up,
Wow.
because I just felt like I can't do this anymore. And uh, that was when I backed away from it for, quite a while and then eventually came back to it. It was like a lot of fear, and a lot of backing away and then coming back.
That was my next question, actually. Like, did you ever feel like you were going to give up on this journey, like put it away? And then how did you get that? How did you find the strength, or how did you get back to it in those times? What after?
I think because this is a story about it's a story about secrets and being a secret and not telling the story,
Hmm.
it would like I would push it down and then it would just be like bubbling up again like you can't not tell a story. In the beginning of the book, it's I quote Maya Angelou who says the greatest agony is bearing an untold story inside you. And that was it, the agony of the untold story. And I think it would like, I would be okay with it for a certain amount of time and then I just was like I can't not do this. I,
Yeah,
I couldn't like I couldn't just give it up.
right on. I love that. Oh my goodness. And then when you were writing it, did you kind of have it mapped out from the beginning, or did it kind of take all
No, no, I like I said it started out as short stories, linked short
Mhm.
stories, like autobiographical short stories, and then I ended up writing two drafts of a novel. And I think I was trying in the novel to like protect people and protect myself.
Mhm.
I was like I'll just write it as a novel. And I but the disguises and the fictionalization that I used were so big that I felt like I wasn't even telling the truth anymore. Do you know what
Mm.
I mean?
Yeah.
And so I eventually let that go. And I did it in so many different ways. I had my solo performance show. And then, when I finally got the book, interest from this publisher, they asked me for the manuscript. So I sent them, like, I had been working on this for, at this point, decades. So I
Yeah.
sent them literally what was like the kitchen sink, like everything that I had ever written on this topic. I
Yeah.
just threw it into this big manuscript. And they wrote me back a very kind letter that said, well, Susan, this was 110,000 words, and our books, you know, we're a small press, and we can't publish these giant books, is 65,000 words. So can you cut 50,000 words? And I
Oh
was
my gosh, 50,000 words.
like basically half the book,
Look, holy cow.
almost half the book.
Wow.
And it was really, they did me a huge favor because there's no spare words, you know, it's
Mhm.
clean. And
Yes.
I cut out a lot of things, and it really helped me to focus and be like, what really is this book about? And
Mhm.
what are the themes, and what are the, you know, what do I really want to focus on? What's the core? And before that, I had lots
Yeah.
of other things, and now I'm working on, you know, a lot of them were published as standalone essays
Mhm.
afterwards as kind of outtakes, and I'm working on, you know, trying to place those now, and I feel fine about it. I feel good about it.
Right
But
on.
I didn't have like an outline by any, it was more like chipping away at all the stuff that wasn't the memoir. You know,
Mm,
they say that Michelangelo chipped away at the everything that wasn't David. He
yeah.
he sculpted away, and I felt like I had to do that with the book. I just had this big, huge manuscript, and I had to like peel it away until kind of the essence of it
Wow.
remained.
And how long did it take to get it from that big size to kind
It
of
took about a year or two. Took a couple years, I think. Yeah, yeah. I mean, and that was another thing that I kept approaching and avoiding, like, because I didn't, you know, I wasn't sure how to do it. I wasn't sure I could do it. But eventually it happened, and I
right?
was glad. Yeah, yeah.
And how has the reception been from the adoptee community? I'm sure it's been wonderful.
It's been great, and
Mhm.
you know, it's been great, and I've been so uh, you know, I don't know, validated, or I don't know. It's been really meaningful. Um, but for me, it's almost been more surprising and more validating to hear from not adopted people who
What?
felt like it resonated on for other reasons, or they learned something that they didn't know before, or
Mhm.
they, you know, that it was worth reading, even if it didn't mirror or echo their own experience, you know, and that to me was a surprise, a kind of a beautiful surprise that, oh, you don't have to be adopted to find something in this book. And that meant a lot to me.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I was sobbing through it.
Well, that's what I mean. I mean, it just means so much to me that, you know, you're not adopted, and yet, you know, you weren't like, oh, well, I can't relate to this. So you know, it's not a story that I can get into. And the fact that I've heard from a lot of people who are not adopted, I think has been a really sweet surprise.
Yeah, and it was really interesting because right after I finished reading it, my daughter got her results back from ancestry.com, and we had thought that we were alone in Hawaii all this time, and then to find out that you have all this family, like it just reminded me of what I just read in your book about, it's the unfolding of the family tree, and then starting that journey of like writing things in. I was doing the same thing. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is
That's
really
amazing. And then you get those little green leaves, and you're like, yeah, hints. Yes, I want more hints. Yes.
Yeah, it
Okay.
just reminds you that we are very
We're
connected.
all connected.
We don't know about it or think about it. Like there are so many connections. So
Wow, that's so beautiful.
yeah. So how has been the reception from like your blood family or from people who are close to you?
You know, it's been a mixed bag. I'll
Mhm.
have to say. I think you know, my birth mother, who figures very centrally in the book, I told her when the book came out that I had published it, and that I didn't hear from her for like a year and a half. And I didn't say, please read it, please don't read it. I didn't say anything about it. She's like, just want you to know that it's out there, and I did my best to, you know, to keep you anonymous, and also to treat us both with compassion and respect. And that was my goal in telling the story. anyway, so she never responded, and then I didn't hear from her for a really long time, and I was kind of devastated and felt like, wow, I took a big risk here,
Mhm.
and it kind of, not I even say blew up, but like the worst thing that I thought could happen happened, and
Yeah.
I've lost this relationship. But I knew that that was a huge risk. And then after a year and a half, she popped back in, and we're in contact again. So
Good.
we also not talking about the book at all, but it's
Very
okay. It's okay. It's fine. It's all right. You know, it's I don't need to talk about it with
yeah.
her. You
Yeah.
know, and so that was really rough. And you know, for the most part, like my paternal biological family, my birth father's family, have been really, really wonderful about it. I went and
Right on.
visited them after the book came out, and they were all just so supportive. And you
Good.
know, they learned a lot about me. You know, that there was, you know, we hadn't been in touch pretty much my whole life, and so it was a way for them to understand and learn about my experience. And it was, you know, it was really great. So,
Right on. I have to say, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I was kind of mad at your like birth mother in the book a couple
oh,
times.
you're not alone in this. You're not, believe me, you're not alone. You're not the only one. Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, it reminded me a lot of the way that my mother acts in certain ways. So maybe, like something about that generation of like the mothering and not mothering. I think because mine was also like an orphan, so she didn't have a mother, So
Ah,
very
mm.
similar, like, traumas or just things that because they don't know how to mother, we have to like suffer that. But I just wanted to let you know my heart was going out to you because your
Oh, thank you.
efforts, and, your all your efforts in the book were just so heartfelt and beautiful, and just the reaction. You can't control how people react, but at least you're
This is
always
true.
yeah. I
This is
mean,
true. You can't. Yeah,
yeah. But it was just beautiful to read, and it's honest. That's the reality of what families like sometimes.
it's
Oh my
true.
goodness. But do you have any words of wisdom or encouragement for adoptees that are starting their journey that, maybe
Searching or writing or both.
both.
You know, just a lot of self-care and a lot of community. Like, really don't try to do it alone, because it's a very vulnerable and tender journey, both living through, you know, dealing with, you know, all the ups and downs of reunion. If there are ups and downs, there's lots of adoptees who just don't have any reunion, and they don't have any answers. And, you know, living with those questions and those holes, you know, it's really hard. And some people are just never going to get the kind of answers that I got. And so, you know, there's that. Or people have situations where they're just, you know, it's called secondary rejection. You know, you know, they get rejected for as adults another time. And so all those things, I think it's very, very hard. I was so lucky in the book and in my life, to you really have support around me from the time I was 18. I mean, I, you know, reached out when I was 13 saying, help me.
Yeah.
And, you know, this adoption support group, they did take me when I was 18. And I have pretty much been in adoption support since then. You know, I've met other adoptees in, you know, infinite different ways. I probably know hundreds at this point, if not more. And I think it's, you know, when you have ups and downs, it's really, really, really key to have people that you can talk to who will understand, to understand, like, oh, I just got my papers for the first time. Oh, I didn't get my papers. Oh, this happened, that happened. I did my DNA test. You know what I mean? It's like I went to an adopted friend's house to do my DNA test, you know, because I felt like I needed her as support to do
Mhm.
that with. And then when I got my results, and you know, all the things, it's just,
Yeah.
it's, I think, support. And then as far as writing, the same thing. I mean, it's just really important to have people who can hold you as you're going through it, and who know that living it is not easy, and writing about it is not easy. And I think it can really take you on a journey. Um, because reliving things as you're writing about them can be really, really painful or really confusing or difficult or whatever. So it's important, I think, to have support and
Yeah.
have community around that. If it's not just one person can be your community, but have people that you can share your pages with, have people that you can talk to when something happens. I mean, I have my adoptee besties, my BFFs that that I've met over the years, and when something happens, I'm like, I need you.
Mm-hmm.
Can I come over? Can we have tea?
Mm, yeah.
Can we do a FaceTime?
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it's really important to me to be able to lean on them.
Yeah. That's beautiful. And I feel like part of the beauty of this journey is, I mean, you were looking for your birth mom and then you found this larger family that was, sounds like it was really there for you.
Yeah, sometimes people ask like, what does the title mean to you? I would meet you anywhere. And
Mm-hmm.
it starts out in the book that it's about that day that I met my birth mother, but it really is about so much more. And it's like, it's about meeting other adoptees. It's,
Mm-hmm.
I would go anywhere to meet other, and I have
Yeah.
gone anywhere, and it's also the same with readers, and the same with
Mm-hmm.
other writers, and the same with anybody who's on a difficult journey, a challenging journey. So I love the title because I feel like it's about so much more than just this one relationship. I
Yeah.
would meet myself, I would meet my adoptive family where they are, so I feel like it really encapsulated so many different things. The I
Yeah.
and the you
Yeah.
change.
Yeah, I love the title too, and how in the different chapters you were meeting in different places, and it was kind of like a spin on that as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Um,
didn't get that title till the very end. I mean, literally, it was almost about to be published, and I had a bunch of really terrible titles. That my publisher was not one of them was um three-quarter Sansei. So Sansei is third generation Japanese American. And I was like, well, three out of my four parents are Japanese. And they were like, no one is going to understand what that means. And I was like, I know, but that's like me and my identity. And they were like, mm. And then I was also thinking of calling it hambun hambun, which means half and half. And they
mm,
were like, no one knows what that means. No one knows how to say it. It's like ham bun, ham bun. Is it like hamburger bun? What is this? And then they were like, these are like incomprehensible titles that only mean something to you, but it's going to mean nothing to anybody else out there. And I was like, oh my gosh, so I was really struggling a
mm,
lot with the title. And one of somebody in my writing group, speaking of community, I'm in a
mhm.
writing group with three other writers, and I was like, you guys, I've got to find a title, or I don't know, I'm going to be in big trouble. And so
Yeah.
they just started going through it, and then somebody just put their finger down on that page and said, I would meet
Mm,
you anywhere. And I went,
that's
that's
it.
it.
Oh, I love it.
That's it.
Beautiful. Oh, that's
Yeah.
inspiring to hear. So you're still in writing groups yourself to help.
Yeah, in fact, I have three writing groups that serve three very different purposes. I have one group, a neighbor who's a friend is also trying to finish a book. He opens up his house, and there's four of us. We're all trying to write a book
Mm,
and finish a book. And he's just like, anyone want to come over and write? And so like several times a week, he'll be like, okay, Wednesday from 10 to 12, Friday, it's usually from 10 to 12. Um, and then people are like, I can come. And that we just sit there and write. We don't talk about it. We don't share. We don't anything. We're just like sit there and have that like accountability.
I
And
love
then
it.
I have another group that meets once a week
Mhm,
online, and we write together for an hour on Zoom.
mhm.
And then we share. We actually do share what we've just written. So everyone knows it's like brand new, fresh
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's really like, just tell me what you think of this. We're not doing like heavy critique or anything.
Good.
And then I have an actual critique group where we bring pages, we send out pages a week in advance, and we have a really intensive discussion about those pages where it's heavy.
Wow.
And people write. extensive notes and write a letter to whoever wrote, and lots of notes and everything. So depending on what I need, I need all those things. Like I need accountability, and for someone to say, okay, we're writing now, we're not going to do laundry, and we're
Yeah.
not going to go scrolling around, or we're not going to this or that. We're writing now, and it
Yeah.
helps just to get me out of the house and sit down with other writers. And I have no, and at the end we're just like, good, was that good? Yeah, that was good. Okay, see you next time. And that's
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. You get the best of all worlds. You get the
All the worlds.
nice.
Yeah.
So you're already working on something else? Is that
I'm working on a novel. Yeah, I'm working on a
beautiful?
novel. Yeah.
And how's that going? Is that
I feel like I'm in kindergarten again, and I'm learning the alphabet. It's really, well, it's like I, wrote a memoir, and okay,
Mhm.
and I feel like I understand that to some degree now, and writing a novel is just a completely different thing.
Yeah,
And it's like I really feel like I'm starting from scratch, and it's very humbling, to say the
yeah.
least. It's humbling. Yeah.
Did you dive right into it after you published that one, or did you give yourself some?
No, no, it was during those 30 years of procrastination and moving away. I started it many years
Yeah.
ago,
Oh,
but I never finished it. And then, now I'm like, okay, I got that memoir out of the way, and now I'm going back to the novel. But it's also a very long-term project, but I haven't really had the focus until now.
yeah. I love that. I think there's something beautiful about taking your time and like really putting your heart and your soul. I know it's not the way they want us to produce, but I think there's something
No,
very pure.
no.
Yeah. It took me 10 years to get my last one out, so I feel you.
See, these things they have to marinate, or they have to
Hey.
whatever.
Would you be so kind to maybe read an excerpt from I Would Meet You Anywhere that
Sure. Do you know where do you want me to read from, or is there a particular spot, or the beginning, or
wherever you feel called. I mean, there were certain passages that I loved that I like bookmarked this. I'm sorry, like all over the place because I was
well,
like,
if you have a favorite, I'd be
oh,
happy to do that, or I could just
yeah.
read from the beginning. But I'm also happy to read something for you. That's
Oh, thank you. Maybe at the bottom of page 221, there's
Oh my
that.
gosh, we're all the way in there. Okay. 221. Yeah. Wow, we're getting toward the end here.
Yeah, just the when it was time for me to leave, that paragraph was so beautiful to me.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
Okay. So just starting it back at the house to the end. How's that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So this is okay, spoiler for anybody who hasn't read it. I did find my birth father's family, and I connected with his sister, who's my aunt. So this is when I go to visit her for the first time. Back at the house, I noticed a white porcelain crane hanging from a knob on the kitchen cabinet. I smiled. I'm folding 1,000 cranes for my daughter Molly's wedding. Really? She exclaimed. That's so exciting. Well, because of our ancestors, I love anything with a crane shape. So as it turns out, their last name was Crane, which is kind of crazy because
Love
there's a lot of crane imagery and origami cranes. I remember how I had struggled to learn origami at the Tule Lake internment camp pilgrimage. Back then, I believed it was because I wasn't Japanese enough to accomplish it, but really it was a lack of clear instruction and practice. A young surfer dude on YouTube had one of the best tutorials I'd seen, and his patient step by step had given me the skills to fold hundreds of flawless cranes. I'll teach you, I said. She clapped her hands and called her daughter in law and grandson into the kitchen. I cut sheets of printer paper into white squares and laid them out on the table and demonstrated each step slowly. First, you make a triangle, then a kite, then a boat. After a few minutes, a quartet of paper cranes was lined up on the table. Everyone was delighted. Look, Elizabeth exclaimed, the cranes have made some cranes. The wild synchronicity of it all. When it was time to leave, my aunt pointed at her brother's ancient microscope, heavy and solid, beautiful as a table sculpture. My throat tightened with sudden tears. The strange and mysterious threads of nature were undeniable. I marveled at the way my multiple strands of identity echoed in these origins. I was a physical therapist, a science major, a writer, a teacher, and a performer. One daughter was a biology major, the other one a health professional and artist, and suddenly these choices felt less than random.
Hmm.
I've never read that before.
Oh, really? I don't know. I was very moved by that. There are so many places, like it's so bookmarked. And I was just like, I love this book.
Oh, thank you so much.
And
Thank you.
yeah, this makes me want to make paper cranes. I have to look up that YouTube.
Yeah, it's called Easy Origami,
Oh, thank
EZ.
you.
And it truly is easy. This guy is so patient, but yeah,
Nice.
he taught us. We watched this video over and over, but it made it happen. So
Oh,
yeah,
wonderful.
yeah.
And do you have any advice for a writer who's like in the middle of writing a large book or memoir right now? Like kind of.
You know, I was talking to a class recently and they asked the same question and I said, you know, a long book is it's like a marathon, you know, you don't
Mhm.
have, and you don't know really how long, how many miles it's going to be or how many years or decades.
Yeah.
And I think it's helpful to write short pieces to just
Mhm.
give yourself a break. You know, it's like
Mm.
a little raft to lean on while you're swimming through the ocean and you don't know where you're going and just like have a little, you know, a little place to rest
I
and to
like.
feel like you can complete something, to write a poem or to write
Mhm.
a short essay or a short
Mhm.
story, something that you feel like you can complete in a finite amount of time and you can send it out and you can maybe get it published. And, you know, I feel like because you could go years without really feeling like, are you a writer? You know,
Mhm.
and without having that external validation. And
Mhm.
so I think if you can, you know, just give yourself a little break and write something short, you know, or do an excerpt or do something complete right up on a completely different topic just to take a break. And it's very exciting to get something out in the world.
Mhm.
You know it's going to be years. Like I know that my novel, it's going to be years before it comes out
Yeah.
because one, it's not done, it's
Yeah.
not sold, and
Mhm.
even after it gets sold, it usually takes, you know, at least a year and a half to two or maybe even
Mhm.
3 years for it to actually get into the shelves, right? And so I know it's going to be years from now. And so I'm trying to, while I'm working on it, trying to find some smaller pieces that I can either send out or write, or, you know, poetry is great for that, you
Mhm.
know, um, to try. And I recently actually just took a amazing class with Lee Herrick, Abecedarian poems on, you know,
Oh,
alphabet poems. And
yeah.
I learned things about them that I had no idea about. You know, I think I had this idea of what they were, but I learned about the incredible variety in those kind of poems, and it was very inspiring and just gave me like something new to play with.
I
It was
love
great.
that. Nice. And you also do art, right? I've seen some beautiful illustrations.
I do some art. You know, I
Mhm.
haven't recently as much because I've been super, super busy teaching and I just haven't had a lot of time. But especially during the pandemic, I
Mhm.
took so many calligraphy and art classes, and it really, really it was very soothing for me. So I'm hoping I'm actually retiring this summer, and I'm hoping that
Congratulations.
yeah, I'm retiring this summer, and I'm hoping that after that, I will have more opportunity to do art and calligraphy again.
So is that more of a release? That's more like not as stressful, the art, would you say, as in terms of an art?
Oh no, that yeah, the art is like just totally for pleasure. Like
Mm,
for a little while, I was like doing commissions and you know, I selling things online, and it just it kind of took the joy out of it, you know,
mm,
and made it more of a pressure thing. And I'm like, I just
mm.
want to do it for fun.
Oh,
I
I
just
love.
want to do it, you know, for soothing purposes and doing it with friends. And, you know, sometimes I have some friends will get together and, you know, do watercolor or collage and just do it for the fun of it, you
It.
know?
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. No
And
pressure.
yeah. And what do you wish somebody would have told you at the beginning of writing this memoir or your writing journey? Do you have
Oh
any
my
advice?
gosh. I mean, I think I would have been really freaked out and really upset if they told me it was going to take 30 years. I would have given up, honestly. I would have been like, there's no way no, I'm not doing that, you know? So I think if, if somebody was like, you know what, it's going to take as long as it takes and it'll be just right whenever it's done. You know, whatever your journey is, it's going to be just right. And I think in my mind, I would have been like, oh, yeah, 2 years, you know, or, and that seemed like a long time, right?
Yeah,
I think just have patience and believe in yourself and believe in your story. And it'll take as long as it takes. And just don't, if this story is really important for you to tell, just don't give up, you
right
know?
on. Oh, that's beautiful. That's very wise.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
And
I I mean, I remember when I was first starting it, I was in my 30s,
mhm.
and my husband was like, "Oh, honey, look at Frank McCourt. He published Angela's Ashes when he was 65," and I flew into a rage. I was so angry. Like, I don't want to hear about old Frank McCourt. Are you kidding me? Like, you know, I was so mad. And indeed, I was that age when my book came out,
Wow.
and or close to it. You know,
Yeah,
I was in my 60s, and I just didn't want to hear that when I was starting out. So
yeah,
I think I wouldn't have wanted to hear that, but
yeah.
just that it'll take as long as it takes.
That's real. And what matters most to you now in life, would you say?
Family,
Hmm.
family and friends,
Yes.
and, you know, keeping, you know, writing,
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
know, those are the things. Yeah, those are the things that, you know, when I do retire, those are the things I want to focus on. I have two grandchildren
Oh,
now. So, yeah. So, you know, being with my family, my grandchildren, and writing this novel. So that's
nice.
it. So if I can do that, that's all I want to do.
Right on. How old are your grandchildren now?
They're 1 and 5.
Oh, that's such a cute age. Oh, God bless. Right on. And
Yeah.
how do you want to be remembered?
Woof. I want to be remembered as well. Oh, I think I did write an answer to this. On the other thing is, you know, I did my best. You
Mhm.
know, I did my best and tried to be kind to myself and others.
Yes.
I did my best.
God
You know,
bless.
I feel like I haven't been perfect in a lot of areas, but, you know, I did the best I could and really always tried to love and
Mm,
connect.
yes. Beautiful. And how can we best support you? Are there any readings coming up? I know we definitely buy this wonderful book and
Yeah,
read it.
buy the book. Buy the book. You know, one thing is, okay, so the book has actually done, you know, it's not a New York Times bestseller, but it sold multiple thousands of copies, and I have 100 reviews. So
Congrats.
like 0.005% of people who've read the book have left a review. And allegedly that's very important. I hate writing Amazon and Goodreads reviews, but apparently it changes your algorithm in some way. So if you've read it, if you could write a review, that would be awesome. I love and just spreading the word. You know, ask your library to carry it if you can't buy it. Um, I love visiting book clubs. If your book club wants to read it, I'm available to come visit book clubs virtually or in person. And yeah, I my website is thesusanito.com, and I
Mhm.
have all of my upcoming events on there. I don't have I'm going to be at AWP in
Oh,
Baltimore in March, and possibly some other things, but I don't have any I don't think I have any upcoming readings yet. So anyway, yeah, so I think just looking on the website for any upcoming events, and if you know, check out the book, and I hope you like it, and if you do, leave a review or tell a friend or ask your library bookshelves. I also I love it if you teach, if you want to teach it to your class,
yeah.
either at a university or a writing class or any kind of class, or yeah, I'm open.
Right on. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much. It's been such an honor and a pleasure to
Melanie, this has been
chat with you.
lovely. This
Yes.
has been lovely. It's so beautiful to see you. It's so
Wow.
great.
It's lovely to see you too. And thank you for writing this book and giving us your heart and your soul and your beautiful words. So,
Thank you so much. This has been a joy and a pleasure.
aloha.
Aloha.
Sweet.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, okay. Thank you so much.